Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You may know me as the nanny's mother or the nanny. And come see me in my one-woman show, My Life on a Diet, in Bellport, Long Island at the Gateway Theater. And I'm happy to be talking to Rabbi Sol Solomon. I don't know if I downgraded him to a doctor instead of a rabbi on a Dave's Gone By. Oy vey.
Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And I have an introduction here that's probably going to be even longer than the interview I am about to do. Because, oh my God, do we have a special, wonderful guest on this show. This is a woman who started doing stand-up comedy in Greenwich Village to the point where the person opening for her back in the day was Barbra Streisand. Then she had some roles on Broadway. Then she met her husband and they had more Broadway success and film success with movies like Lovers and Other Strangers and Made for Each Other. And then later on her own, you know this woman as Nanny Finds Mommy on The Nanny. Plus, she's been doing a lot of other TV and film work over the years. But you can see Renee Taylor live March 15th and 16th at the Gateway Theater in Bellport, New York, doing her solo show, My Life on a Diet. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is such a delight to be talking to the funny, the delightful Renee Taylor. Shalom, Renee!
Shalom, shalom.
So, Renee, you are 85 years old, don't look it, don't feel it, but doing a one-person show like you did this My Life on a Diet for many weeks off Broadway last year, do you pace yourself differently than you did when you were 75, 65, 55, etc.?
I have more fun.
I know that's sort of a joke, but what do you mean?
I just love it, and I love meeting the people and talking to them afterwards, and I tell them my life story and what diets I was on, and I love hearing about their diets and their life struggle, and that's my favorite part is after the show when people come and talk to me.
Well, I think what is the joke of the show is that you've been on a diet for 50 years and you've lost, 5 pounds in that whole time? What's the line? I forget.
Actually, I've lost thousands of pounds and put them back on.
So, would your advice be to people, love your body, be good to yourself, don't be doing this dieting thing, or do you still, at your stage in life, still watch your weight, you still worry?
I don't worry, but I don't eat after sundown. That's Dr. Oz's diet.
You don't eat anything after, so in other words, once your body starts to, and you go to sleep, you shouldn't have stuff digesting. So,
right.
Well,
that's when you put on the weight at night. So I've been on a lot of crazy diets, but this one really seems to work.
Ooh, how long have you been on it?
Since yesterday.
So what is the craziest, most ridiculous diet you've ever been on?
The champagne diet, the Vogue champagne diet. I read Vogue magazine. It said you must have 2 glasses of champagne before each meal to take away your appetite. But it can't be cheap champagne because cheap champagne has more calories.
Oh.
So I was on the Cristal diet, and I became a $200 a day drunk.
I can imagine, because 2 glasses before each meal. You're drinking basically a bottle of champagne every day.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, but probably a fun diet to be on.
It was.
So why did you go off it? Or did you?
I became an alcoholic.
Oh, literally. I thought you were sort of joking about that. But
No, I went to AA.
Wow.
I was with my husband, Joe Bologna, when he was in Brazil doing Don't Blame It on Rio. And I was dancing with Michael Caine on the dance floor, and I passed out spread eagle on the floor, and my husband said to me, I think we have to sign you up for AA.
Whoa. Now, you don't still have to go to meetings or still, I mean, you have your chip
No,
or...
but
No.
I've gone to Overeaters Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous.
Wait a minute, were you on opioids? Why would you go to Narcotics Anonymous?
At one point, my diet was amphetamines.
Why were you... so you were taking... Well, I guess a lot of people do that. The pills they get from these health food, so-called health places are actually just Dexedrine. They're...
Oh, yeah, Dexamil.
Good Lord.
I was on Dexamil.
Hi, Mike.
Uppers, downers, for my appetite. But I became a dope addict.
How long ago was this?
Oh, last Tuesday around 3 o'clock. No, years ago.
No, don't you... Are you at the stage...
I've been in all the addict places, you know? Even Shopaholics Anonymous.
Oh, well, were you one of these people who would order everything from QVC and HLN? Or...
Yes. I just have an addictive personality.
Wow.
So if it's not one addiction, it's another.
Well, let me ask you, though, when you are working on a project like your one-person show, or if you're writing a screenplay or doing that, does that sort of curb the addiction for a while? Can you be a workaholic and plunge into that?
Yeah, I have to watch that. You can get high on just working round the clock, too. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and start writing. 4 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
Wow. When you started...
Budget.
I'm sorry, when you started working on My Life on a Diet, did you...
It was my husband's idea, too.
Well, he directed... Yeah, he directed the original.
Directed it. Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't think people would be interested in my life struggle with diet. And he says, why? Everybody's on a diet. I think people would be very interested. So we started working on it, and then it became a little off-Broadway show, and we won prizes, and it won the best one-person show over Bruce Springsteen.
Whoa.
That ain't bad.
Was he mad about that? Did he contact you and say, oh, I'll get you next time?
No, I think he has so much money and so many awards, he doesn't care.
Well, you have some awards. Weren't you Oscar nominated?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that for Lovers and Other Strangers?
Yes, that was great. And now, just before Joe died, we did a movie called Tango Shalom that Joe wrote, and my son Gabriel directed, and I'm in it with Eleni Kazan. And it's about a rabbi, actually,
yes,
who gets a message from God to dance the tango. But the thing is, he's Orthodox, and he's not allowed to touch a woman except his wife. So that's his quest, how to dance the tango without touching a woman. And the movie solves that riddle.
I'm thinking maybe a cross-dresser. I don't know
how he finally finds a way how to do the tango.
Now, where can people see Tango? Because IMDb says it's in post-production. When can people actually watch it and see it?
Well, as soon as we finish posting it.
Will it be in movie theaters? Will it be on...
yeah, movie theaters.
Oh, my goodness. All
over the world. I'll let you know when it comes out.
Please do. Tango Shalom. How could you not cast me as the rabbi? This makes me mad.
Do you dance?
No. I have 4 left feet. It's terrible. You don't even want to know.
Well, this guy dances. This rabbi who's in the movie dances.
Mazel. No, he's not an actual rabbi in real life like I am. Is he?
No, but he's Orthodox.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, now, was it difficult to work around his Shabbos schedule?
Actually, I played his mother, who's a very old Orthodox lady, and they said, you must have some clothes that are right. I said, no. I don't have... all my clothes are very glitzy. I don't have anything that covers my head and my neck and my hands and my feet and everything. So they said, how are we going to get the costume? And I said, we'll just stand on the street And when an old lady goes by, we'll say, "Can we rent your clothes?"
Really? You did this?
Yeah.
Wow. And they did?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. I love these stories of like how films, low budget, I mean not films that have $80 million budgets, but a film where you have a certain budget and they're like, what do we do? What do we do? Okay. And you come up with a solution.
That's what you do when you don't have money.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mazel Tov, by the way, you said your son directed the film?
Yes, and my son also. Come in.
I am in. What?
Come in.
I'm in.
Room service. Come in.
Oh. If you need to go get the door, I'll yeah.
Okay, stop it for a minute.
We're talking to Renee Taylor. She's in a hotel room in Florida before, of course, she comes to Long Island to do her one-woman show, My Life on a Diet. You're going to go see that.
Wait a minute.
March 15th through the 16th in Bellport at the Gateway Theater. Yeah, and as I remind you, this show was a hit. It was playing a limited run off-Broadway last year, and then they extended it because everybody wanted to see it. And you should know that you can also go see this play if you're on the West Coast in early April. She's going to be doing it in Beverly Hills for a couple of weekends in a row in mid-April. But anyway, we have so much to talk to Renee Taylor about, to ask her about the people she's worked with, the scripts she's written, the shows she has done, and of course...
That was room service.
Yes, what did you get? What did you order?
It's a fruit that comes from South America. It's called ACACI.
When not acai, but
yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, the acai. They make the berry thing out of that, and they say that's really healthy and stuff.
It's an antioxidant.
Oh, okay. What's wrong with oxide?
Yeah.
You don't want to rust or something. I don't know. But anywho, are you settled? You ready to get back into the thing, right?
Yeah, I'm getting into shape with my diet.
No, I meant get back into our interview. Now, you've got your acai plate in your hotel room, and we're good. Because I want to ask you, one of the things that I love doing on this program, since you have worked, I mean, you just name-dropped Michael Caine, for goodness sakes. So,
okay, here's another one.
Yeah.
Just before Sid Caesar died, I was at his house for dinner, and Mel Brooks came, and he said to me, "Did I ever thank you for being in The Producers, because I played Evil Braun?"
Right.
And I said, "No, you didn't." And he said, "Well, thank you." So it was 50 years later, and he thanked me for being in The Producers.
Well, that's good, because, you know, he had that tiff, I would say, with Cloris Leachman about not even thinking of casting her in the musical of Young Frankenstein. So it's nice that sometimes he sort of remembers and says, you know, and he gives a nice thing, a thank you to you.
No, but he was really wonderful, and he said he remembered when I auditioned for the part, and he said, out of 300 girls, that I was the funniest when I said, ich liebe nicht, ich liebe nicht. And he imitated my audition. So 50 years later, he remembered my audition. That was pretty flattering.
Well, I'll do my best Dick Shaw. It's like, I leaves you, baby, I leaves you. Now leave me alone.
Yeah.
Do you have any other, do you have memories, though, of working on The Producers? I mean, you were probably there for just a day during that number, but any memories of the experience? Well,
you know, I was in a play with Gene Wilder, and Mel Brooks came to see it, and I was understudying Ann Jackson, and I went on and played it with Gene Wilder.
Oh, that was Love, directed by Mike Nichols, yes?
Yes. And that's what got Gene the part in The Producers.
Wow.
He didn't even remember me but that's what got Gene the part.
Oh, Myth Miles. Now, that's the thing. You're mentioning people like this. You're mentioning people... I'm not going to let you go or let go of Michael Caine that you were, like, dancing. Any Michael Caine memories? Anecdote stories?
Michael Caine and my husband had a great time in Rio. And they had a lot of female impersonators try to pick them up.
Hey, okay.
And pick their pocket when they would go for a walk. And Michael Caine said, you know, Some of them, he didn't know it was a man.
Oh, well, yeah, back then, even now, sometimes I don't know if I'm a man. I've got to look in the mirror and go, oh, yeah, I've got the hair. I'm definitely male.
Yeah.
Well,
I tell you, maybe you could, what do you think of people who are sexting their genitals to each other? What do you think of that?
My problem is, if I were showing my genitals to someone, I'd have to make the screen so big just to see it. Because I'm Jewish.
But how about this? How about you don't even know if the person sent you their genitals or somebody else's?
Oh, yeah, no, I think there should be a photo bank of people's genitals where you can choose one and just send it. And it doesn't have to be, it can be genitals from 3,000 miles away. It's like, oh, I like those. I think I'll send those. Yeah, kind of like an Amazon for genitals. But I don't know how we got on this, but let's talk about other people that you, Renee Taylor, have worked with. For example, you knew Jerry Lewis.
Yes, I was on the Jack Parr show with him one night, and he came on and said, oh, lady, you're so talented. If you're ever in California, look me up. And so I flew there the next day.
Yeah?
What? And I said, okay, I'm here. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, there's no part in the movie for you. I said, yeah, but you wrote it, didn't you? I've seen your movies. Just rip out 5 pages and write in 5 new ones.
And did he?
I'll have a part.
Yeah, you were in a Jerry Lewis movie, right?
Yes, he did that. He ripped out 5 pages and wrote 5 new ones so I could be in it.
Oh. And again, this is a nice... I mean, we hear a lot of not-so-nice things about Jerry Lewis, but you're telling nice stories about people, which I like. You know, because he didn't have to do that. He could have been a jerk, but he kept his word. I like this.
Yeah, me too.
How did you meet your husband and co-writer and director Joseph Bologna? How did you first meet?
Bologna.
Yeah. How did you meet?
Oh?
Hello, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I asked, how did you first meet him?
I had the same manager as him, and Buddy Allen, and he said, I'm going to introduce you to a writer you're going to have a comedy rapport with. And we did.
Well,
and the moment I saw him, I shook his hand. I looked in his eyes. I said, oh, my God, this is the man I'm going to marry. And Joe told me later that he thought, this woman's looking at me very funny. And 3 months later, we were married.
3 months?
Yeah.
Wow, you know, and those whirlwind romances, and your marriage lasted only a couple of years, like 52 years.
53 years.
53.
We were madly in love for 53 years, and I still am. I still am. And people ask me, would I marry again, because he just died last year.
Yeah.
And I say, absolutely. If I met somebody with the same 10 qualities that he had, which is kindness, compassion, love, sensitivity, intelligence, caring.
Interesting. Nothing physical so far. This is all just like good person, mensch kind of things.
You know, there's nothing sexier than being a good man. To me, anyway.
No, was there any issue, though? He was not Jewish. You were, always will be Jewish. Was there an issue of marrying and being with this man back in the day, 54 years ago now? 53?
Yes.
Oh.
His mother said to him, look, I believe in true love. Don't see her for a year, and if you still love her, then I'll give you my blessing. And Joe said to her, how about I don't see you for a year, and we'll see how I feel about you.
Ooh, wow. Wow. Good. Did you eventually get along with her, though?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. I meant Mazel.
Yes, she said, put on your girdle, the rabbi's coming.
Now, here's a question also, though. You have the son who's directing and doing all these things. Was any...
My son was bar mitzvahed, and he had a circumcision.
Oh, yes. Does he still have it?
He was brought up Jewish, and he went to NYU, and he was a Holocaust scholar. And now he's written a couple of Holocaust movies.
Oh, mazel. Because you can't be Jewish and not bring up the Holocaust every 10 minutes. It's just part of our DNA, as it were.
Absolutely.
So, but here's also a question. I mean, your Joseph Bologna died last year, and on our program, the Dave's Gone By show, sometimes we talk to people who have lost people recently, just by the luck of the draw, like Carl Reiner. We were talking to him about Estelle, and the musician Tom Paxton was on the show a couple of years ago. He was grieving. Are you still coping with grief?
Yes, I cry every day. I talk to him. As a matter of fact, one of my prayers is I ask God to help me connect with the oneness of Joe and not feel separation now that he's gone. And it's really helping me.
So as you say, you talk to him, you feel his spirit, even though corporeally he's no longer with us.
I talk to him all the time, and he talks to me. I write him letters, and he writes me. I change the color of my pen, and he writes back to me.
Well, you mean you write out what you feel he is telling you?
Yes. As a matter of fact, my next show is going to be called The Book of Joe.
Oh.
And it's really special stories about our 53 years ago, things he did, things he said. He was always funny. Even when he was dying of cancer, he was always funny.
Well, can you give us a Vorspeise, a little taste of a story or an anecdote or a line that he said that was funny or great or beautiful that you will be putting in this next show that you're doing?
Well, when the doctor told him that he had cancer, he said, but I have to ask you something important. Do you validate?
I'm sorry. Oh, I thought there was more kind of parking. I'm sorry. On stage, that'll get a big laugh. I was
always making jokes about everything. And I said to him, Joe, I'm sorry. All the years we were married together, I yelled so much. I should have cried more and screamed less.
Oh.
And he said, Renee, that's good to know.
Well, was yours a quiet, like, you were madly in love with each other and happy for 52 years, but was it like a Maud and Walter kind of marriage where it was a yelling and screaming all the time, but, that was the way you did, or was it more quiet and funny and joking all the time?
It was both.
Okay.
We'd have a fight, and then we'd do a joke. I'd say, I have an appointment. Remember where you were, and I'll meet you here later, and we'll continue the argument.
That's great. I'm just so angry. There are not a lot of marriages out there that have that
I don't know why. The most important thing is to have a sense of humor, not take yourself seriously. One time I said to him, you ruined my life. I never want to see you again. He said, okay, but where do you want to have dinner?
Now, when he does something like that, or you say something like that, does that wind up in a script 3 months later?
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Like our play.
Yeah.
Once we had a fight when we were first married, and I said, get your things and get out, because, when you're first married, you talk like that.
Yeah.
Get out. So he started packing. And then I started packing, and he said, where do you think you're going? And I said, if you ever leave me, I'm going with you.
Well, that was the title of...
That then became the title of the last Broadway show that we did together.
Yes, and I did not get to see that, unfortunately, but the producer of this program, Dave, he saw it. He enjoyed that very much. That was a very, very nice show.
Thank you.
And let's talk about some other people. It's lovely to hear about Joseph
Richard Lewis. Richard Lewis was a fan of us and our movie Made for Each Other, which was the first movie that we wrote and starred in together.
Yeah.
And he said when he was dating girls that he would go out with a girl, and if he'd show her the movie, and if she didn't love it, he would never see her again.
That's and you ended up working with him and Don Rickles on a sitcom.
Yes, I played his mother and Don Rickles' ex-wife. And Don Rickles was so funny when we were shooting that he broke me up all the time on the set, you know, when he would forget a line, he would make a joke, and I would just laugh and laugh.
That's why, because I figured that's a very weird couple of people to be doing a sitcom with, and Lewis has had his issues. How was he? He's neurotic to begin with. Was he manageable during the season that show ran?
Who, Don Rickles?
No, Richard Lewis.
Oh no, Don Rickles was not Richard Lewis.
Wait, what?
Don Rickles was the crazy one, not Richard Lewis.
You mean off camera, off set? Because we get Richard Lewis tells stories of back in the day when he was on drugs a lot, and he was.
Oh no, he was sober here. He was sober.
Oh good.
He was great. He's wonderful.
Now let's roll back even further to a name that maybe not a lot of our listeners would know, but they ought to, because he was a very important man of the theater. You were once directed by George Abbott.
Oh yeah, and he was 100. And when he would give me a direction and I would do it, he would then take me in his arms and we would waltz.
Oh.
And he once sent an actor home for wearing dungarees and sneakers. He said, "You're disrespectful to the theater." In those days, actors dressed when they came to the theater. The audiences did too. Now people come to the theater in shorts.
Oh, well, yes. Well, it's true. And you know what? If you're paying $300 for a Broadway ticket, you can wear what... I'm going naked. Because basically, if you're paying that kind of money for a Broadway ticket, you can't afford clothes.
I don't know. I think the theater is like a temple. It's very sacred and holy, and that we should treat it like that. You know, actors are really the oldest profession.
Well, yeah. But have you ever eaten with one of them? That's a line from the producers, of course. I stole that. I did. Another person that you would check out, this woman, Renee Taylor, was in a movie with this cast: Jack Gilford, Robert Duvall, and Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
When I met Frank Sinatra, I was in The Detective with him.
Right.
And every morning I'd come in. I was so in awe of him. I'd say to him, "So you're Frank Sinatra?"
And how would he respond?
By the third day, he said to me, "Yeah, I'm Frank Sinatra."
Do you have any other stories about him, or his behavior, or his just being Frank?
Well, I'm very proud of my one possession. I have an autographed photograph he gave me that Don Rickles got him to give me.
Oh,
it said, "To Renee, good luck.
All right.
Love, Frank Sinatra."
Love, Frank Sinatra.
And that's, he didn't give that to many people.
That is nice. I like hearing that. Tell me also, wait, who else do I have? There's so many people. You were in the movie version of Neil Simon's Last of the Red Hot Lovers.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Arkin. For any stories, because he's a crazy dude. Any stories about him or Neil Simon?
Alan Arkin was always a lot of fun. I always had a lot of fun with him.
Good.
He's gotten more serious now. But he was a lot of fun. Well, I always played jokes on him and made him laugh. And I also... Neil Simon, I was in a television show he wrote besides that.
Oh.
And it was really exciting to be with him. And we went to, when Sid Caesar died, we did a tribute to him I Are you a member of the Friars Club?
I'm thinking about it, but I bake things. Frying is too, it gives you cancer and stuff, so I don't fry much. That was a joke. I'm a fryer. Get it, fryers?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I'm sorry. But no, I'm not. I know, of course, of the Friars Club, yeah.
Uh-huh. So they did a tribute to him, and he came and said wonderful things about Sid Caesar.
Oh.
Sid Caesar was so loved by all his writers, Mel Brooks, Woody Allen.
Well, he was, yeah.
What?
I'm just trying to say what people think of Sid Caesar. He was such a multi-talent. He was such an energy comedy force that it's almost hard for us to think back of what he meant to television back in the 1950s.
Yes, but he was painfully shy.
Really?
And I would have dinner at his house with Joe, and I would say to him, whenever I say, "Oh boy," I think of you, because he used to do all these. Sketches where that was at the end. He'd go, "Oh boy."
Oh.
That was the cursing then.
Oh, that was. Oh well, yeah. At least on camera it was. But what else? What else are we talking with Renee Taylor?
I worked with B. Arthur. She was the funniest woman I ever worked with.
Give us a B. Arthur story, please.
Well, she really would.
No, please.
Go down the vodkas.
What?
She just drinks straight vodka.
Oh.
Does. And I'd say, B, you're going to get sick with so much vodka. And she said, "Oh, shut up." And she passed out.
Oh, good Lord. Was this at the TV studio or just at dinner somewhere?
In a bar. In a bar. We'd go for a drink after the theater.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, B. Arthur. As I always say, if you can't be good, be Arthur. That's what I'm saying. That's
what?
Little joke there. Little comedy there.
Oh, be good?
If you can't be good, be Arthur. All right, I'm not going to make that joke. But let me bring up another person that people might necessarily associate with you. You were in a movie called Delirious with the late John Candy.
Yeah, he was very funny.
Yeah, well, I heard he was a sweetheart, too.
Very sweet, but, what he was done in by his weight.
Well, yeah. But he wasn't, he was obese. He wasn't morbidly obese. I imagine there were other factors involved for him to die that young. But I don't know.
I think it was heart. I think it was his heart gave out. John Belushi, who did drugs.
Wait, who did? John Belushi, of course, and the other fat guy on Saturday Night Live. I forget his, who kept pulling his pants back and forth, which was really funny. Yeah. We haven't even talked about The Nanny. Give us, what is your favorite Nanny episode?
Oh, the one with Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, okay.
That's the one I was nominated for an Emmy for. And when Liz Taylor was on the show, she had a diamond ring as big as her knuckle. And I said, "Oh, could I try that on?" She said, "No."
Ooh. Okay. Was she nice the rest of the time?
She was a star. She had to have water in a glass jar. She had to have flowers. She was absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, but it's a shame that she wasn't more personable to you and the other cast.
Oh, when you're that big a movie star, it's hard. It's very hard.
Well, now, come on. You have been in this business long enough to know some very big movies. So you already mentioned a couple. You've talked about a couple. Tell me that there aren't movie stars that you've worked with who aren't incredibly rich and famous and yet really down to earth and really sweet.
Let me think.
Ooh.
Well, Fran.
Who?
Fran is very rich and famous now.
Who is? I'm sorry?
Fran Drescher.
Oh, Fran Drescher.
Rich and
Well,
famous.
yeah. Now, I mean, she had a lot riding on her. What was it like working with her on the show for many weeks, many times?
Oh, it was always fun.
Oh, good.
I still see her very often. I came down to Florida and saw her in a show here.
And you were on the, I wouldn't call it the sequel to The Nanny, but she did another sitcom about divorce a couple of years.
And I was on that, too.
Oh, good.
She's just great fun to be around all the time, and very generous and very kind person, even though she's very, very rich. I don't think I'll be as rich as her until, maybe next week.
No, you should, thank God, you should be pretty comfortable. You had a hit movie, you had movies on TV, you constantly work in television. I mean, you should be pretty okay comfortable, am I right?
Well, let me tell you this. I have a timeshare at Cedar Sinai.
Now that's good. And does dinner begin at 3:30 in the afternoon? Just checking on
Yes, yes.
We've been talking, and by the way, you can also hear, you've done voice work. You were on Bob's Burgers.
Yes.
A couple of times.
That was fun.
Whom do you play on that?
The mother.
Oh,
The mother-in-law of Bob.
how do you like doing voice work?
I love it.
Yeah.
I was also in, I did a lot of Ice Age. I did a lot of voiceovers. I like doing cartoons.
Well, yeah,
I
I mean,
was
it
on
seems
a lot
pretty...
of Disney shows.
Oh,
Shake
good.
It Up. Did you ever see that?
Afraid I did not see Shake It Up. No, no.
Little kids stop me on the street and say, "You are so mean."
Ooh.
They really take it personally.
Well, yeah, well, good, but that means you're doing your job. You're making them believe
Yeah.
that you're a rotten person, which you are not. Which you are lovely and delightful. And if people want to hear your story, or at least the first part of your story, before you do your one-person show about the marriage, you're talking about my life on a diet, and everybody can go see that, please, 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 at the Gateway Theater in Bellport, Long Island. That is happening on March 15th and 16th. And by the way, I will remind also our West Coast listeners that in early April, you're going to be doing it in Beverly Hills for...
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm going to be at the Wallace Annenberg.
Yeah, that's pretty, I mean, woohoo, spiffy. Very impressive.
Spiffy.
And I didn't even mention, how could I not mention that you made your stage debut in a Purim spiel?
Yes, I played a slave girl. I got $5 to dance across the stage.
That's more than I make as a rabbi, so I'll talk to you on that. And I didn't even ask, do you have any memories since when you were a stand-up comedian of Barbra Streisand opening for you?
Barbra Streisand. I talk about her in the show.
Oh, okay. Can you give us a little taste, a little...
Yeah. She always used to ask me what song to sing when we were at the club together. And then when she sang at the White House, she called me and said, "Renee, I'm singing at the White House. What should I sing? What should be my opening number?" I said, "Barbara, I told you 10 years ago. You didn't listen. Look where it got you."
So, let me ask one last question for the wonderful Renee Taylor. Joan Rivers, back in the day. Well, not that long ago. They did a documentary about her, and one of the things that it showed was, and I talked with you about being sort of a workaholic, was there was this fear of her calendar at one point being empty, that she would wake up and the phone would stop ringing.
Yeah, that was sad. I knew Joan Rivers when she was a young comedian, and we used to go looking for guys on the weekend before she was married, too. And once we went to Fire Island, as the ferry was pulling in, I said to her, "Uh-oh, we're at the wrong place."
Well, I mean, yeah, if you were looking for men on Fire Island, I mean, they would do your hair. perhaps.
Yeah.
They just won't do you. Yeah, okay. But with Joan Rivers, that's a wonderful story, but I was also just going to ask, do you ever have that worry of that the phone won't ring, the calendar will
yeah, I think every actor has that. But then, at some point of your life, I hope you decide that your life is the most important thing, and it's going to support your work instead of your work being your life.
Mm. And are you able to live there? Because you constantly write. I don't think you ever get writer's block. You're always, even if you're just talking to Joe and writing that down, there's always something to write. Is that true? Do you never have writer's block?
Well, no, but I'm in Florida for the first time. I'm going to be here for 6 weeks, and I am not working. I'm just having fun and feeling my grief in between having fun, and it feels good.
And speaking of feeling good, are you feeling well? You're healthy? Things are
My
good?
health has never been better.
Well, you have made us all feel healthier and better just by talking to us in the neighborhood on the Dave's Gone By program. It just remains for me to say, oh my God, what joy we've had talking to Renee Taylor.
I hope you're going to come to my show and come backstage.
Oh, yeah, it would be such an honor to meet you. In March. It's March 15th, 16th at the Gateway Theater in Bellport, Long Island. For God's sakes, get your tickets right now so you have them in case it sells out. And hopefully I'll be able to see you backstage and give you a blessing. Or, you give me a blessing. I'm tired of blessing people.
That's all about blessing. God blessing all of us.
Yeah, that would be nice. Renee Taylor, it just remains for me to thank you and say shalom to you.
And thank you, Rabbi.